or visually portraying the Prophet ﷺ, so it leads to difficulties, but it needs to be done. A deep knowledge of the local community. We've got a little bit mixed between means and I'm not too sure which is which. But certainly a very, very deep knowledge of the local community to understand how to approach them is extremely important. In terms of places of introduction, schools are extremely important, but again, very specific targeting of schools. So actually, proper packages, which there's nothing of right now, that you can go into schools with. Workplaces is another area. So again, simple things that we can make for people that they can confidently take to their workplace. Public transport as well, when people are mulling around on the London Tube waiting for hours to get to work. So public spaces where people are watching. And of course, our own Islamic centres, etc., and invitation, and that leads you to the one-to-one, etc. Cafes and recreation centres where people come together and socialise, either through clubs or sports, etc. In terms of places, I put one down which was iPods. I think if we can get into people's iPods, and certainly when they're sleeping, indoctrinate them in the way of the Prophet ﷺ, then that's a very important place to get into. But seriously, in terms of MP3 and also even PlayStation 3, how we do it, no idea, but it's certainly a very important place of introduction of the Prophet ﷺ. Methods, of course, one-to-one, one of the most important ways we felt, but there's other methods, posters, leaflets. Example of good character must be stressed rather than you often see big poster sets of the entire life of the Prophet ﷺ starting in 573. What we really need to concentrate on is the good character, stressing the humanity, respect of woman, etc. And multimedia methods in doing that, not just text-based, but audio and visual, which are lacking. Social activities relating to local initiatives and green issues, so focusing on those issues around the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, what he said about those things. And lobbying, of course, on the governmental level, which is a very important method. Who should be involved? Expertise, we felt, from people maybe who have, what's the term, Brother Dawood? Is it now revert, convert, new Muslim? I've got no idea. How long can you be a new Muslim for? I've no idea. Okay, revert. Professionals as well, as a different area of how professionals approach other professionals, like for like, as the previous group was saying. Specifically train group, which is another idea, that you specifically train a group, whether it's da'is or scholars, to actually have a higher level of knowledge on this issue to spread out to all the community in UK. Imams have a special role in terms of who's involved, and of course the general Muslim community. All Muslims should have some level, and that's the key thing, of how to spread the message of the Prophet ﷺ. And like-minded people from non-Muslim community. So we know that if we can influence people, and of course Abu Talib being the example that was cited, if we can get the Abu Talibs on our side to tell other people about the Prophet ﷺ, then that's the best way of doing it, rather than doing it ourselves. And number 5, in terms of how to coordinate the different efforts, we felt that local meetings between different organisations, that's the key thing, that all organisations come together on this issue, because there's just not enough information out there within our organisations. Pooling of expertise and skills, and I think also we felt there should be a sort of scholar committee, both at the national level and particularly local level, where scholars come together to discuss the specific issues that we're discussing today.
Muslims usually are not very good at dawah. They don't know what the hikmah is. So it's very important to train all the Muslims, especially in Friday meetings and the Sunday meetings, how dawah should be done. So that should be the starting point. And penetrating into the mainstream educational media, training the teachers, students, children, and other people, using small clips in the news, in the television, on the media. I mean, if you have a 1 hour commentary or something, then it's quite boring for most non-Muslims. So using small 5-minute messages or something like that.
Okay.
And places, Muslim institutes, schools, mosques, electronic media, visiting hospices, hospitals, residential homes, prisons. These are the people who are more receptive to Islam and to the dawah. So concentrate more on these places, but also on other places as well.
Okay.
Methods are again lectures and involving more and more of professionals who can be more productive in this. Who should be involved? Youth, who are the young ambassadors of Islam, and they should be the one we should concentrate mostly on, as well as reverts, as it was pointed out earlier. And then how do we coordinate this? By having more meetings like this where people from different organizations have come together under one roof.
We are not reaching the right audiences. If you're targeting non-Muslims, the genre or the format of the TV has to be the mainstream channels. And also, in addition to more Islamic channels in the mainstream channels, because out of 800 channels that we have on Skynet, only 1 or 2 are truly Islamic, and of that, they're not placed in the right format. So if you want to reach non-Muslims, you have to be in the right place. The second point was the most suitable place of introduction. Use of mosque, institution of mosque, and I remember the example of in Istanbul, when it's Turkey, mosque is not called mosque, it's called jami. It's an institution of learning. We need to reactivate the spirit of jamia, and also make mosques open to non-Muslims on a regular interval to interact with us, to receive blessing, barakah, guidance, literature, and including food. I remember in India, the system of Khanqahi, of Khaja Mainuddin and Nizamuddin, was to invite people to the places of worship and also interact with them through food and even music of the right kind.
We had a very philosophical discussion, and I don't think I can present all the points, but what I know that we focused on 2 points, and those 2 points are we focused on changing our attitude, changing our mentality, changing our mindset, and the second point is communication or presenting the Prophet ﷺ through examples, and don't preach Islam, live by Islam. We said that when we introduce Sirah, we are also introducing the message of the Prophet ﷺ. And when we introduce the message, of course, we've got the message and the messenger, and we've got the target audience. Now, as for us, who are our people? Because the Quranic method of da'wah is that, Ya Qawmi. All the prophets, when they addressed their people, they said, Ya Qawmi. As for us, who are our people? Are the non-Muslims our people? Do we see them as our people, or do we see them as enemies? Because this is very important. When you say Ya Qawmi, you show love, you show affection, you care for them. Now, if you don't change that attitude, if you don't love them, show care for them, then of course your attitude would be completely different. So therefore, this is something we need to think about it. Secondly, we need to communicate with them. We need to have dialogue with them. Now, of course, to have dialogue with them, unless someone respects you, someone loves you, and someone loves you, you cannot actually have any dialogue with them. So therefore, we need to change our attitude with regards to changing our attitude towards them. We should be respecting them, honoring them. I'm not saying to accept their religion or practices, but to respect them as human beings, because this is the Quranic message, وَلَقَدْ كَرَّمْنَا بَنِي آدَمَ, that Bani Adam is being honored by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Therefore, we Muslims should also be respecting and honoring the Bani Adam, regardless of their faiths and beliefs. We are not accepting, we are just respecting as human beings. Once we respect them in our workplace, in everywhere, then we can actually have a dialogue with them.
When we discussed before with Brother's presentation, that actually a lot depends on the psychology, the circumstances, the existing knowledge. So we just put explore all possibilities at the bottom. It's a